you. Thank you, General Jones. Teşekkür. Merhaba. Nasılsınız? That is it. That's all the Turkish I can handle this morning. I am here representing the Sierra Nevada Corporation. I would like Mr. Osman and Mrs. Osman, if they're both here, Fadi and Aaron, to stand up and be recognized. They are true heroes of this relationship. They are both heroes of Turkish-American relationship. They epitomize what is great about both of our countries. They are entrepreneurs of the first order. They have their great company moving into space. They also are working very closely with Turkey to build an aircraft known as TR Jet and an opportunity known as TR Jet that will connect Turkey with its various neighbors and at the same time give it greater opportunity to move internally as well. So they're from Nevada. I'm from Nevada. Some of you may wonder, why would anybody live in Nevada? For me, it's because it reminds me of the Afghanistan-Pakistan border area. Everyone in Nevada is heavily armed. They have a certain amount of drugs go back and forth across the border with California. And if you're a retired general, you can build a militia there. That's why I'm there. But seriously, I'm very honored to be here. General Jones, thank you, sir. There's no officer finer that I've ever served with than General Jim Jones. We got to know each other very well. I, as his subordinate in southern Turkey and in northern Iraq, and to think that it was 25 years ago was amazing indeed, sir, and thank you. But today I don't want to talk about facts and statistics. I want to talk about emotion, because we often seem to leave that away. But when I think of the emotional relationship between Americans and Turks, things that most Turks don't think about and that most Americans don't think about, it's worthwhile to spend a few moments thinking about them. I have a passport of my family, of my grandfather, of my grandmother, 2 passports in our family archives, issued by the Ottoman Empire when they came from Syria to the United States back in the 1870s. As a young officer, I can remember my first trip to Turkey. I was studying as a student in Jordan, and my wife and I woke up one morning and we said, let's go to Istanbul to visit one of my good friends that was in the Turkish Staff College. So we got in our car and we drove through Turkey. We drove through Syria on our way to Turkey, and we drove all the way across Turkey to Istanbul, and we came back again, and it was one of the greatest trips that we have ever had. Istanbul is one of the great cities of the earth. The people of Turkey treated us not as friends, but as more than friends. Our Turkish military brothers and sisters greeted us as brothers in arms. I go back to the time my uncle, who was a Marine, fought in Korea, served next to a Turkish unit there. And I remember as a young man, I said to him, so Uncle Joe, how was it being next to Turkish units in Korea? He said to me, I slept very well at night because they were good soldiers, they were tough, they were resourceful, and the enemy always knew that we were around, and so did we. And so I think to my own military opportunities as a young officer, when we together faced the Soviet Union. My unit had battle positions in Sarikamish. We spent time in Erzurum. We had battle positions on the Syrian border that we exercised from time to time. We also had battle positions on the border with Bulgaria. Can you imagine American soldiers and Turkish soldiers standing firm out there day after day, never worrying about the outcome, always knowing that we could handle the problem of the Soviet Union should it come to pass? And then the Soviet Union went away. And one of the reasons it went away is because we were so steadfast together. Turkey and America, the east and west flank of the NATO alliance, the indispensable source of strength of the NATO alliance. And then we began to go to places together like Bosnia and Kosovo. And throughout the modern period that we have shared together, we have not been fighting, we have not been arguing, we have coolly, competently, and efficiently worked together to make the world a better place. When you look at the results in Bosnia, when you look at the results in Kosovo, when you will look at the shaping of the future results for Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, you will know that Turkish and American cooperation there were essential for success. And while you read our newspapers and you may sometimes wonder about the future trajectory of our relationship, and you read Turkish newspapers and you may wonder about the future trajectory of the Turkish-American relationship, I can tell you it is the bonds of brotherhood, sisterhood, and bloodshed from Korea to standing against the Soviet Union to working together in Bosnia, Kosovo, and all throughout the world. These are the emotional bonds that will keep us strong in the days ahead. So to the folks from TIKE and the folks from ATC, congratulations on this great conference. As we go through the statistics, let's never forget the emotion of our relationship. Let's never forget that there's no problem that we cannot solve together. We are faced with one of the most difficult problems I have ever seen in the Middle East. But I only know one thing. While there are Russians there, Saudis there, others from various different parts of the world in Syria and Iraq trying to play different roles, there are only two countries that are there that are essential, and that's my country and Turkey. And so while we will have differences to work out, we will be able to solve the problem together because we have to. The two passports that are in my family archives of the Ottoman Empire, they are an example of the emotional relationship that we must treasure, that we must nurture, and that we must continue to move ahead. I am a friend of Turkey. I will always be a friend of Turkey. I regard the Turkish Armed Forces as my brothers. Thank you very much.